Try to get comfortable here. Hey gang, it's me, your Uncle Todd here. And I finally got around to seeing the debut episode of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Always makes me think of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. And there is a similar kind of humor to it. The show starts out, she's practicing her, Jennifer Walters is practicing her closing argument on a case she's working on. And before she heads to the court, she turns to the camera and explains that she is a Hulk. And then details how that came about. She was on vacation with her cousin Bruce, who was recovering from the injuries he had sustained during the Infinity War and the Endgame. And they get into a car accident. And she's cut and he's cut and he inadvertently bleeds on her, which gets into her wound. And she turns into a Hulk. There's some funny bits where she's in this bathroom at this bar trying to clean herself up because she's woken up in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't know where she is. And these four women come in. I don't know if they're ladies of the evening or drag queens. I don't know exactly what the women are, but they rally around her, pull out a spare pair of shoes for her, give her one of their jackets, and start putting makeup on her to help her out. It is really funny. And she eventually ends up in Mexico with Bruce, who's now in his Professor Hulk guise. And he is explaining that she is now a Hulk and she will need training. And he's going to give her that training. And it took him 15 years to get to this point where he's now Smart Hulk. The first test, he gets her to Hulk out and she retains her mind. He doesn't understand that. Now for me, my thoughts are, well, of course she retains her mind. The dose of gamma radiated blood that she received was from him after he had become Professor Hulk. So that might be why she retains her own psyche. Anyway, she has survived because she has a unique body type that was similar to his. Anyone else, they would have just died. So after a few days of learning yoga techniques, and it is kind of a montage of slapstick stuff with throwing stuff, ribbing each other, and drinking vast amounts of alcohol because Hulks can't get drunk. Although in their human guise, the next day she does have a massive hangover. But after a few days, she's ready to go back. He doesn't think she's ready, and they get into a hellacious fight that just destroys the entire compound. That's Mike. And after it, they rebuild the bar, and then she returns back to take up her life as a lawyer. She can actually change back and forth at will. She somehow picked that up without Bruce coming up with a way for her to. She's learned on her own. She has a great speech when he says you have to learn to control your anger, and she gives a great speech about how she controls her anger every day because of all the things she goes through as a woman, having to deal with people like me. Well, not exactly like me. I'm not quite that obnoxious around women. Although I might have to check with my wife. She might have a different opinion on that, especially when we first met. Anyway, so she can control being Hulk and non-Hulk. So we cut back to her at the end of the show. She's giving her closing argument on her case, and Titania smashes into the courtroom, causing her to having to Hulk out and deal with it. At which point, she then returns down to Jennifer and starts to give her closing argument in her tattered suit. All in all, very fun episode. Very funny episode. There's a lot of great jokes in it, between the banter between her and Bruce Banner. It's really funny. The running gag of her detailing all of Captain America's busyness during the war, and then after he got thawed out, to postulate that he's actually never been with anyone. And in the post-credits scene, Bruce gives her the answer to that one, which I won't spoil for anyone. But yeah, a lot of good humor in it, as only Marvel does. And I know some are going to complain it's a little too woke or it's too feminist. And all I can say is, did you never read a She-Hulk comic? Did you ever read a Marvel comic? Might have heard of Stan's Soapbox, perhaps? Yeah. Well, that's all I've got to say about this one. I'm looking forward to the next episode. She apparently is going to take on the Abomination as a client. That'll be fun. Well, till next time, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.